Hello, welcome to another Nickjitsu video. Today I'm going to be going over my triple play setup. I get lots of messages about this and I've had millions of email from a Mrs. Edna Scrubs who says, "Dear Nick, I'm having trouble setting up my TP with my DAW. Need help ASAP. PS, Charlotte at 22 sent a PM to you, RSPV ASAP FU. ASAP if you can. Apparently you left your PVC socks there on Wednesday." So the setup process of the triple play used to be a pain in the bum, but now it's really easy. All you do is you go on the Fishman Triple Play website, you go to the downloads instructions section, you download the stuff, do with the thing, you put codes in and stick your finger up your nose while sticking your leg in the air facing north, whatever you have to do, and then that's it. You've installed everything. What you'll get is you'll get the triple play software, and you'll get the very, very cool Synthmaster 1 synth, which I've just done a demo of on a song called Tor, which I will do a link down in the description somewhere. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell, and the do, and the thing, and the beep beep, all that kind of stuff. Incidentally, if you want to see a video of me explaining all the sounds in Tor, where it comes from and how I composed it, the ideas behind it, then put a wee down in the comments. What the hell is a... The triple play used to come with various contact sounds and IK multimedia sounds as well, sample tank or something like that. And I've seen in forums people complaining that the triple play doesn't come with those anymore. But if you go on the Native Instruments website or the IK Multimedia website, you'll actually get most of these sounds for free. So you can still get them, so don't worry. In fact, you can get lots and lots of free sounds if you know where to look. And in yet another video I'm going to do, I will show you where to go for sounds, what sounds I use, and what sounds I use live, etc. All that kind of thing. I'm sure you'll be on the edge of your sleeping bag when you watch it. Triple play software is great, but I need slightly more functionality, as I've mentioned in other videos. So I use MainStage. I use the triple play in standalone mode, which I'm going to explain in a minute. And then I use all the sounds on MainStage. There you go. There's my solo organ on MainStage. If you're on a PC, I'm not sure what software you can use because MainStage is Mac only. All you need to do is type TP on the PC. In fact, no, don't type that. You'll get a policeman with a wigwam on his head. I don't know. Type something in, you'll find the PC thing. When I play live, I use hardware mode. In fact, I use hardware mode on the triple play pretty much all the time. Same hardware mode I use for Logic, for Ableton. You'd use it on Cubase. It really doesn't matter. And every guitar is going to be different. Every pickup height is going to be different. The string sensitivities are going to be different, all that kind of thing. So don't complain to me if you don't get exactly the same sounds as I get. Just count yourself lucky that you don't get exactly the same sounds that I get. Hello, I'm in the corner of your screen now, in a wee box. Probably the best place for me, to be honest. We're going to have a look at my wee computer, and this is my Apple Mac. What is it? It's a 2014, very old, MacBook Pro, and it's, I couldn't even tell you what system it's running, 10.14 or something like that. But I've got MainStage on here, which is what I use live, and we're going to have a look at what I used, how I set up the triple play for live. So I'm just using a organ sound, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my triple play setup. Now, this is important. I've got it set up in hardware mode. To find hardware mode, you can see what I did. You go into the little kind of box just under this wee bit here, and you look for hardware synth. This is where all my synths are kept. And I can use them with the triple play, but for reasons I'll go to in a minute, I prefer to use MainStage. So you look for hardware synth, and you can double click on hardware synth, and that gives you all the settings. We'll come back to them in a second. So first of all, you set up your pickup height, and then what you've got to do is you've got to try and get the sensitivity right for each string. And you can see the numbers here for mine. I've experimented long and hard with this, and you can drive yourself absolutely bananas. But the general idea is, when I play normally, I'm aiming for it to go to normal, which is the middle section. I think it's green and orange and red, I think, or something like that. If I play soft, it's going to go to soft. If I play normal, it's going to go to normal. And if I play hard, it's going to go to strong. When I do chords, I want the majority of the notes to end up in strong. So you can see that my G and D can be quite strong, depending on the note, really. Some notes are louder than others. You see what I mean? So, ever so slightly, but very marginal. But what you get is you get a nice evenness across the notes. So that's what I'm looking for when I set that up. It's going to be different on every guitar. So you can copy these numbers down, but it might not suit your guitar. It depends on the height of the pickup. So the next thing we've got to look at is what's actually in the hardware synth that I've set up. I've got it set up to mono. Each doodah is picking up one string. Each part of the pickup is picking up one string. The finger sensitivity, touch sensitivity, I sometimes come in and change it from pick to finger style. I find finger style is a little bit more, helps my kind of soloing technique a little bit more. I play quite dynamically, so which means I play loud and soft if you're a drummer. It doesn't mean that you just play as loud as you can. And what happens is that when you play dynamically, sometimes the notes won't trigger right, and it totally depends on the sound you're using. That's a big factor as well. So the sustain pedal function is really important. That is the CC66 sostenuto. You hit a chord, and then you hit the hold pedal, and it holds the chord, and you can play over the top. That's mega important if you're a synth guitar player. I'm not sure how important it is for synth players because you've got two hands, but this effectively helps you give the illusion that you're a synth player playing with two hands. And a lot of companies don't include this in their software main stage, and a few guitar synth companies don't include this in their software. It's a godsend that Fishman have kept this on the hardware synth. When you tick that little box, block new MIDI notes, what that means is that it will, when you play a chord, it will block any extra notes that are coming in, so the chord will sustain, and then you can actually play over the top. Very, very, very important. If you don't click that, when you hit a sustain chord, when you hit the sustain, all the notes will ring together. So that can be a bit of a problem. Sometimes you want that if you've got a piano sound, or you've got like you're doing a church organ, something like that, for if you're playing toccata and fugue in a church, for example. Why they would hire a synth guitar player to play toccata and fugue in a church, I don't know, but stranger things have happened. So, onto the sound. Now, this little sound bit here, where it says split number 1, what this means is that's when you start splitting the sounds on the fretboard. I don't do that. I don't do the split thing. It's too much for my tiny brain. But that just means that whatever colour that is, I think it's red, that'll be split number 1. And then you can set the next one up green, I think it is, or brown. That will be like a different setting. You can have everything set to different settings, because again, you can have different sounds on different splits. Now, the dynamic sensitivity is how sensitive it is to dynamics. So if you play just too quiet on one note, or you play a ghost note, it will kind of ignore it a little bit. And I set it to just off center, so that it just picks up a few more of the nuances of my playing. You're not playing a real guitar, remember. You're not playing through a clean guitar sound. where you've got like big variations between loud and soft. So you've got to make those variations just ever so slightly smaller when you're playing synth. You can still do the dynamic loud and soft thing, but especially with organ, it's note on, note off. There's no real dynamics in organ playing. This is more for string playing. Same with dynamic offset. I have that set just in the middle as well. The transpose I just leave alone. If I'm playing drums, then I will transpose it down 2 octaves. And that allows me to have my snare drums in the middle of the neck, where the tracking's just that little bit quicker. A lot of drum sounds you'll find on guitar will be on the bottom strings, on the bottom notes. And the oscillation of the string takes too long for the computer to recognise. So you're better off putting the drums as high as you can on the guitar. With violins, I'll have set an octave up, but I'll have that in the patch that I'm playing. I won't have that in the hardware synth. As far as pitch bend goes, I have it on either trigger or stepped. Normally trigger, because that gives you the smoothest kind of operation. Watch my other video on pitch bending, because I don't think it's helpful to pitch bend on the guitar itself. Because it makes everything else too slow. And then hardware, program change and all that kind of stuff, I just leave blank, because all my hardware and program changes are done between my pedal and main stage, so I don't have to worry about that kind of thing. And that's it. That's all you have to worry about. MIDI volume, reverb volume, I don't touch either. That is my hardware synth setup. And I tend to use just one hardware synth for all my patches. You can set it up so that when you switch sounds on the main stage, the hardware mode will change on the triple play as well, and set up different hardware modes for each thing. But because of the amount of gigs I do in the bands that I play with, and the different gigs I do in changing set lists on main stage, it's too much of a headache to have to change all the set lists on the triple play as well. So it's much easier to have just one hardware mode, which is what I've got. So what I do is a little kind of secret, is in Window, you've got patches, and that's all the patches I've got. And just as to prove a point, so when I use main stage, I have to set up the same hardware thing for each main stage patch, and that's a bit of a pain in the bum, because you quickly run out. It's just a pain in the bum. So trust me, don't do it. Go to Window, go to Songs, and then for every gig, all I do is I set up Bank 1, Nick Hardware Mode, and that is the hardware patch that will then trigger all these main stage patches. I don't have to worry about marrying each triple play patch to each main stage patch, which is a pain because I'm constantly moving these about. I mean, this is a combination of a jazz gig and a cover band gig, but I'll have cover band gig set lists, jazz band set lists, my own hyper-real stuff set lists, everything like that. And to do that in the triple play as well, it's just a pain in the bum. So I have it just set up, and one hardware thing, one hardware template or patch, whatever you call it, that will do every single sound that's on there. I've even got like solo sounds here, so I can like that. So I can even set up drones. There we go. I'll do this in another video how I did this. I got this from a worship website, so I don't use this. I think if I walked into a church it would fall down. But you can hear I've got the scripter playing a patch. That's then going into the chord trigger, which is using that note to trigger a chord. And you can see the chord that it's triggering. Oops, I've just changed the chord. There you go, so I can play over the top of that. When you use it with a DAW, when you use it with Logic or something like that, if you set it to hardware mode and leave it as standalone, and then put on Logic, then it works much better. It means that you can use all the synths in Logic. You don't have to worry about opening instances of the triple play and then choosing a synth and all that kind of thing. You just open it up in hardware mode, and then you can work with any sound in Logic. Easy, just like you would a regular keyboard. I'm using the old 1.4 177 64-bit version. And the reason I'm using the older software is because on the new software, on the new update, you'd be able to use the sostenuto function, which is holding the chord. But what it would do was it played havoc with the banks, bank 1, bank 2, bank 3, on the Line 6 pedal I use, and the Line 6 software that then speaks to Mainstage. And it just started getting really complicated. There's just a bug in the software somewhere. Now that's kind of only pertinent to me, because I'm really the only person that seems to be affected by that. You guys might start using the same setup as me, and you'll find the same thing. So if you do use the same setup, if you're using Mainstage for your sounds, you're using a Line 6 FBV3 to change all the sounds and control Mainstage and the triple play software. Do you see why I'm the only person that does this? You're better off using the 1.4, the older version of the triple play software. As far as the preferences go, my output settings, there's nothing there. Input settings, nothing there. Hardware synth, nothing there. Foot MIDI pedal. When it's plugged in, it will be the FBV3, which is the pedal I've now started using. MIDI bend range, all that kind of stuff. Everything's left as it is. Mute output, blah 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 blah. The monitor hand position thing is kind of like a double-edged sword. It will quite a lot of the time when you're playing chords, it will stop any extraneous notes coming out. But don't forget, you know, you use a fret wrap, because that will definitely stop any extraneous notes. And I use the fret wrap mainly because it's when you take your fingers off that you get all the extraneous noise, or when you're moving between chords. Try and mute with both hands. I've said this in another video, because all those squeaks and pops that you get from a normal guitar sound, the computer hears that and just assigns it to a note, and you get all these weird notes coming out. But when you take the monitor hand position thing off, when you're doing the big stretchy stuff, if I'm doing some Holdsworthy, if I'm doing that kind of thing, then it just makes it easier. The notes pop out better. I normally leave it on if I'm doing a pop gig or something like that, not a fusion gig, because then the string sounds and all that, they don't have any funny notes popping out. And then every now and again, when you update, or if you're installing this for the first time, sometimes you'll get a string that won't trigger, that won't work, and panic ensues because you think the pickup's broken. But if you just go into the strings here, E, A, D, G, B, E, elephants and donkeys grow big ears, then if the E's not working, set it to any note and then just set it back to E again. And you'll find that the E string starts working, or the G, or whatever. Whichever one didn't work, it will work again. Don't expect just to be able to pick up the guitar and it will suddenly just magically become a horn section or a string section or anything like that. You do have to do a little bit of studying. So don't pick up your guitar, stick on a horn sound, and then expect it to play exactly like a guitar. Horn players don't do that. So you have to learn how a saxophonist or trumpeter would phrase. The best way to do that is to listen to saxophonists and trumpet players. John Coltrane, Miles Davis, Lisa Simpson, any of them will do. Similarly, when you play strings, you can't just suddenly, you know... although that sounds quite cool. You can't just play the first guitar riff that comes to your head. You have to play an actual kind of strings riff. You have to play... and you have to pick the chords accordingly and all that kind of thing. It's actually quite good fun because it makes you think totally differently to a normal guitar player. Therefore, compositionally, you'll become different. You'll start thinking differently. Think of the instrument you want to play, hear the instrument you want to play, and then backpedal from that instrument to being a keyboard player to being a guitar player. So I have to mention, I don't work for Fishman. This is purely my choice, and I like it. So anything I like, I will champion. And this is the best of the bunch for the moment. So what are the advantages of me playing synth guitar as opposed to regular guitar? It's kind of obvious, really. The big one is live. I can turn up and I can just be a guitar player. I might be playing some really cheesy songs, but they become a lot more fun when you've got to play about 11 instruments at the same time. So one of the other major advantages is that it makes you sound really interesting as a guitar player. One of the best compliments I ever get at a gig is people coming up and saying to me, just sounds like a backing track you're playing. And they're always surprised when I actually start playing strings or anything like that live right in front of them. Even when I'm touting for gigs and I tell people what I do, trying to get gigs for playing the Hyperreal stuff live, people don't get that I'm actually playing the synth live, even when I show them videos of me doing it. So it's one of these weird kind of things that it's almost magical. I'm a magician. But it's very much part of 21st century guitar. I think it's going to become the norm, in the next sort of like 20 years or so. I think eventually the technology will be there that you literally it will be built into the guitar itself. I hope. That's kind of what I hope. I'm also hoping for extra robotic arms and cars that drive themselves so I can sleep all the way up to Scotland and back. BMWs with indicators that work, all that kind of stuff. But, some things will never happen. So my setup might seem a bit convoluted and complex, and it is. I'm not going to lie. However, when I started using the Triple Play, I just used the Triple Play software, and it was fine. It was grand. Just over the years, I've started to need more and more functionality, different buttons, things going off, and I found that Mainstage just did it a lot quicker. And if you can find the PC version of Mainstage, then fine. There's nothing wrong with the Triple Play software. What you'll find is that when you need more, you'll find more ways to do it and find different softwares and stuff. Get your head round the Triple Play first, and then you can start adding things and doing silly things with feet and stuff. The one thing you will learn about playing live with the Triple Play and Mainstage is you never have enough feet. If you want to hear the Triple Play in action, then I did an album, Hyperreal, which I never seem to mention. And everything was played on this guitar using the Triple Play, and I think Amp 1, Thomas Plug Amp 1, and that Rivera over there, and that computer, as it happens. Everything was done on one laptop. Poor little laptop. Just got to the end of the album and that was it. Anyway, have a listen to the album, have a check out of it. I'm building a new rig at the minute, and I'll do a video on that at some point, but that's for a bunch of shows that I'll be doing hopefully next year, and a new album that will be out shortly based on German techno music, and maybe a few other things that I've got going on that are top secret. Don't tell anyone. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Hope you get on well with the Triple Play, and I'm be very interested to hear what you guys come up with for sounds and what you play and what you compose and all that kind of thing. So don't forget to do the like, subscribe, the doodah with the thing, and I'll see you on the next one. Slanchever. Du hast mich gefragt. Du hast mich gefragt und ich hab nicht gefragt. Willst du bis der Tod doch scheidet, Treue sein vor allen Holdsworth? Nein! Nein! German Techno, brilliant.